Hey guys, promise I'll get you started on the SiR in just a second, but I have something I'd like to talk about first. You see, along with my YouTube channel that has been doing incredibly lately, like seriously, thank you, I also have a Twitch channel, and I like to stream on Twitch about once a week, usually doing Overwatch, but I've also done games like Stardew, Osu, and Minecraft. When I'm going live on Twitch, I like to make 30-second videos just telling my biggest audience that I am currently live on Twitch, and then I delete the video when the live stream is over. Well, YouTube has actually started striking channels, and I guess sometimes banning channels for doing exactly that. They say that videos that are purposefully trying to drive people away from their platform are not welcome on the platform. And while I don't love it, I can't really do anything about it. Like, I'm really at YouTube's mercy here. So I have no choice but to abide by it. So I'm not going to be doing those 30-second videos anymore. But this is me not telling you to go follow me on Twitch, the link to which will be in the description below. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a couple vocal exercises to do. You know, you gotta warm up the vocal cords before you do this. I promise, this really helps. Maurice. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch. It's just an exercise. Follow me on Twitch. Alright, I think I'm good. On to the video.
He was the only one in it. Janice comes in the background, but there's Muma dropping that Earth Shatter. There's a charge onto the Transcendence. Oh, and he's gonna knock him off. What an angle!
You know, when it comes to the Houston Outlaws, I've found that most people fit into 2 points of view. You either love them, or you forget they exist. Me, I'm in the latter. Other than the occasional Jake lol, this team never really stuck out to me. And prior to making this video, I was wondering myself, why is that? Well, I think I've finally come to my answer. The Houston Outlaws were just a complete embodiment of mediocre. Never so bad to gather pity, but mostly never good enough to find lasting success. On this episode of Season in Review, we're going to take a look at the Houston Outlaws' highs, lows, and everything in between to figure out why they ended up settling for mediocrity and how they could be a scary team going into Season 2. But first, let's talk about how the Outlaws came to be. The Houston Outlaws are owned by Optic Gaming. Optic is another one of those mainstays in esports who have been around forever and have teams in so many games that it would really be a chore to list them all. Their main claim to fame, however, is their Call of Duty team, which is the most decorated and well-known team in the game. As far as Overwatch, however, Optic was just tipping its toes in the water, having never owned a team before the Overwatch League. The core of the Houston Outlaws roster ended up being made of FRNG-FE, a team that was formed by former Fnatic, RNG, and Gale Force esports players looking for a new team. They ended up coming in 3rd/4th place overall in Contender Season 0. The members of this team that ended up on the Outlaws were tanks Muma and Coolmat, DPS Clockwork, and supports Bonnie and Boink. They would then go on to sign DPS Jake from LG Evil, Linkser from Team Giganti, and Mendo Kusai from Cloud9, as well as tanks Spree and Flex support Raucus, both from FaZe. It looked like while the Dynasty and the Spitfire were building Korean super teams, the Outlaws were trying to do the same with mostly Western players, giving that audience something to root for. Of course, we all know how overpowered Korea is, so let's just hope it doesn't bite them in the butt. The Houston Outlaws started Stage 1 off with a bang. After appearing like a mid-tier team in the preseason and losing their first 2 games, they came out and won 16 maps in a row and ended up riding that incredible map differential to a 7-3 record to qualify for the stage playoffs. How? Well, other than the Seoul Dynasty choking what was nearly a guaranteed spot away, Houston established themselves as the premier anti-dive team in the league at the time. Anchored by a strong tank line to Muma and Coolmat, the most famous Junkrat in the world in Jake, and Linkser emerging as an incredible Widowmaker, especially in the Widowmaker battles, earning him the weighty title of being the best counter-sniper in the league early on, the Houston Outlaws repelled almost any dive that was thrown at them. It's also worth mentioning that the pre-nerf Mercy in Stage 1 made risky reses much easier due to the insta-res during Valkyrie. That will be important in a second. However, despite losing out on the Spitfire in the semifinals, the Outlaws, for the time being, were one of the best teams in Overwatch. You know how I said the Mercy reses would be important in a sec? Sorry, it actually took a few seconds. Between Stage 1 and 2, some nerfs went live in the Overwatch League, which heavily impacted the Outlaws. Mercy received a significant nerf to her ult. Insta-res was gone, movement was nerfed. Mercy became a lot easier to catch off guard during her ult. So Bonnie began to hurt on Mercy as he went in for risky reses and got shot down. The second was Junkrat, who got multiple nerfs to make his grenades harder to hit and his mines less powerful, among other things. Now, when you think of Jake as a player, not a meme, but a player, most people fall into two camps. The first camp is that he is a talented flex DPS with a specialty in Junkrat. The second is Junkrat one-trick. With Junkrat more of a situational pick at the time, something became pretty apparent to everybody. Houston didn't really have a good Tracer player. With Mendo riding the bench and Clockwork having a ton of trouble, the Outlaws ended up turning to Linkser and Jake to split playing time on the hero, one that neither player had played much as a pro. With all that put together, the Outlaws struggled a bit. It's worth mentioning that the tank line of Muma and Coolmat were still extremely strong, but they were by far the strongest part of the team right now, with Linkser's Widow being a close second. The Outlaws went 5-5 in Stage 2 with a 0 map differential, just as mediocre as you could possibly get. But it's fine, because they signed a backup main tank. Woo! Unfortunately for the Outlaws, Stage 3 was just another version of Stage 2, but worse. Jake at this point had pretty much lost the Tracer lottery, but he was showing steady improvement even if he wasn't the flashiest. Instead of being a hard carry Tracer, Jake focused on being a Tracer that could disrupt the enemy team in order to open up room for Linkser's Widowmaker to carry, and it worked. Sometimes. Unfortunately, Linkser's Widowmaker has actually gotten worse as the season has gone on. His Widowmaker, with the rise of people like SiR Player, Pine, and Carpe, fell from a top-tier Widowmaker to more of a mid-tier, just perfect to match the rest of the team. Not only was Bonnie and sometimes Boink struggling harder and harder on the main support role at the same time, Raucus began to struggle on the flex support, mostly with Zenyatta. Good news though, tank line was great, probably the only positive portion of this team. Muma is the best Western main tank in the Overwatch League right now. Coolmat is a quiet but consistent diva. Spree is the best Zarya one-trick that this team could possibly ask for. Other than that, there wasn't much to cheer about. This is probably why the Outlaws were the final team to crumble to the lure of Koreans, signing Arhan from Meta Athena. This move, however, was puzzling. Yes, Arhan had more Tracer experience under his belt than Linkser or Jake, but he was best known for his Genji, something that Linkser and Jake had both played and seemed proficient on. It made very little sense, and these questions would follow the Outlaws as they stumbled to a 4-6 record in Stage 3. Alright, Outlaws, this is it. Your team is on the outside looking in, but the playoffs are still well within reach. This team needs a spark. The introduction of Brigitte should be great for you since she's a hard counter to Tracer, but I feel like you need something else. Who are you going to bring on to give your team the extra push that it desperately needs? Oh, hey, Kai. Good to have you. Now, we can argue that Kai ruins every team he puts his hands on all day, but the truth is that the Outlaws' performance wasn't much better or worse despite their 6-4 record. They were never really to find that shutdown Brigitte player like Mickey or Prophet. On the bright side though, Arhan got some playing time in the last few games and was actually pretty good, even if he didn't have to play Tracer. This was by far the worst stage for the support line though. Bonnie and Raucus had really been getting worse and worse, and stage 4 was the worst for them. All the problems that had been sneaking up on the support line throughout the season really crashed on them during this point in the season. This led to the Outlaws being led right outside of the playoff picture. The Houston Outlaws were okay. They were the most forgettable team in the league in my opinion because they were never particularly good or bad. They have fantastic tanks, average DPS, below average supports. I think the most important thing for the Outlaws going into Season 2 is to revamp their support line, especially at Mercy. Also, nothing against Mendo, but he is a waste of a roster slot. Make him an Outlaws affiliated streamer and fill that slot with a Tracer one-trick in case she comes back into the meta. If that happens, I think the Outlaws could be a really scary team. And that's why my final grade for the Houston Outlaws in Season 1 of the Overwatch League is a C+. And with that, the SiR series has reached its halfway point. As I move into the playoff teams, I have an interesting choice to make. Which order should I go in? Should I continue doing the teams in order of their regular season placement, which would make the Fusion next? Or should I make them in order of when they got knocked out of the playoffs, which would make the Uprising next? Since I don't have a particular preference, I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Along with my Twitch link that I'm not telling you to follow, I'm also going to leave a straw poll with that exact question. It's super easy, just click the link, make your choice, and submit. You will all decide the direction that this series takes in its second half. Until next time, don't get tilted. Peace nut.